Hey everybody, it's Thursday, means it's time for your Thursday Thought. We're going to jump back into our review of the contract to buy and sell. And last time we did this was 2 weeks ago, and I think that we covered sections 7 and 8. And so now we're covering 9 and 10. And 9 and 10 are similar, or I should say they're related, because we're starting to get into basically buyers' due diligence process. And so Section 9 has to deal all with a new ILC or survey, improvement lot certificate or improvement location certificate or certification, basically that you would hire a surveyor to go out there and basically check on the property, make sure all of the property lines are what you think they are, where the buildings are located on the lot. So when I write my contract, I always make sure I reserve this right for my buyer. However, in most situations where the property lines are clearly defined, whether that be with some type of landscaping material or a fence or things along those lines, we don't often do an ILC or a survey. However, when you get into more weird areas, if you go out east and there's more land involved and there isn't real clear delineation between the property lines, or maybe you're over in the west side where there were a lot of homes built a long time ago and it's not super clear where those property lines are, then we definitely recommend and encourage our buyers to get those done. And so ultimately, number 9 deals with the basically your ability to get and to object to if you find anything objectionable during the ILC or survey process of the contract. And then we go on to Section 10, which is a due diligence section, and it talks about everything. The big one it is in here, it's all about material defects or known material facts. So ultimately, it talks about the seller's proper disclosure. The seller is obligated, that the seller should provide you. The adverse material facts, basically, says the seller is obligated to reveal any adverse material facts. Your right to inspection as a buyer, the inspection objection process, and the resolution process. And then, of course, there's a termination deadline in there as well if you're going to just terminate the contract based on the inspection. And then it goes on and talks about some due diligence documents, basically a series of documents that you can. Due diligence documents have 2 different main things. Number one, if there's any lease involved in the property, if there's a tenant in there or a renter, then you might want to ask for rent rolls and or leases, things along those lines. And very often, what you see in the contract to buy and sell is a section where the buyer's agent will put a list of documents in there that they're requesting from the seller. And really, the spirit or the intent of that is, hey, seller, if you have any documents on the property, please pass them over to us. But things about permitting or remodeling, installation, appliances, user manuals, any documents in regards to the neighborhood or any government organizations that have any relation to the property, any ILCs, any past inspections, warranties, radon reports, engineer reports, and the list goes on and on. It's kind of a weird thing, to be honest with you, because most of these read that are in the seller's possession. But as a buyers, we really don't know what they have, and so we just ask for everything, and then whatever we get is kind of like, I guess, a cherry on top, more or less. And so then there is the another section of the Section 10 that's pretty important is a conditional sale deadline. Basically, if you are selling another property to be able to purchase whatever property you're making an offer on, it's kind of considered a contingent sale contract. And so Section 10, it talks about that. Also talks about the source of water and lead-based paint. Basically, where is that home getting its water from? Talks about lead-based paint if the home was built prior to 1978. Also talks about carbon monoxide detectors. Basically, it's mandatory state law that there be a carbon monoxide detector within 15 feet of every bedroom. And there's also a methamphetamine disclosure. And so meth as a kind of a growing issue along the Front Range, but that there is a disclosure in there. If the seller knows about it, they have to tell you, is basically what it says. So that's section 9 and 10, kind of dealing with, again, ILCs or surveys, and then section 10 dealing with inspection and all the due diligence items that you as a buyer have a right to do. So I hope that was helpful, and we'll continue our march through the contract in future weeks. Thanks very much for tuning into these Thursday Thoughts. I hope that they are valuable to you. If you ever want me to do a video on a topic, please let me know. Drop a comment in the video below, and we'll do a video on that. Thanks very much. Hope you're well, and we'll see you next week on next week's Thursday Thought. See ya.